Ever feel like you're doing all the right things and still wondering why your body feels off? You eat well, you train hard, your labs say you're fine, but deep down you know something's slipping. You're not alone and you're not crazy. I'm Daniel Rasmussen, founder of Echelon Center for Longevity, and I've spent 2 decades helping high performers like you to reverse aging, reignite vitality, and finally get answers. On Unbreakable Vitality, we go upstream. We talk peptides, stem cells, precision diagnostic testing, reversing the age of your arteries, all the innovative science-based tools to take back your health span so that your next decades are your best yet. Because aging is real, but decline is optional. Most people think plaque is a localized cardiovascular issue, but the presence of plaque anywhere, even in small amounts, is a signal of systemic dysfunction and increased risk across the brain, the kidneys, the gut, and the extremities. This episode reframes plaque as a whole body biomarker and explores how early detection can reveal a broader biological trajectory. Let me tell you a story. A man in his late 50s, active, lean, clean diet, sharp-minded, spiritually dialed in, comes into our center because one of his close friends just had a sudden heart attack. It got his attention. He has no symptoms, no family history, and his doctor told him everything was perfect, but something doesn't sit right with him. So he comes in and gets a heart threat scan. We find early stage soft plaque in the left carotid artery. Soft plaque is the most unstable, likely to break off and cause damage. His cardiologist reviews the report and brushes it off and says, "You're fine, nothing to worry about." Well, 3 months later, he's in the ER with a TIA, silent stroke. Then the cascade begins. He starts having memory issues. Kidney function starts to lag. Peripheral tingling in his left leg begins to show up. And the question everyone asks is, why didn't we catch this sooner? Well, we actually did, but they weren't listening. What if the problem wasn't where the plaque was, but what it meant systemically? Welcome back to Unbreakable Vitality. I'm Daniel Rasmussen, founder of the Echelon Center for Longevity, and today we're diving into one of the most misunderstood warning signs in medicine, which is plaque. For decades, plaque has been seen as a local issue, a heart problem, something to monitor if your cholesterol gets too high or if you smoke too much. But the truth is this: plaque is systemic. It's not a coincidence. It's not isolated. It's not just a thing that happens to arteries in the chest. The moment plaque shows up anywhere in your carotids, your femoral artery, your retinal vessels, it's signaling dysfunction in every system tied to circulation. So this episode is about reframing how we think about plaque, not as a location, but as a lens, right? A new lens, a diagnostic clue, a message from your biology saying this is bigger than it looks. Because what's happening in one artery may be happening in your brain, your kidneys, your gut. And once we begin to see it that way, we can finally do something about it before it becomes a crisis. No death by surprise. Let's get into it. So I want to start by dismantling one of the most dangerous myths in modern medicine, that plaque is only a heart issue. When most people hear the word plaque, they brush it off. They say it can't happen to me, that's way in the future. They immediately think of coronary artery disease or heart attacks or a stent procedure. But the truth is, plaque doesn't just show up in your heart. Your entire vascular system is a 60,000-mile network of blood vessels that touches every organ, every cell, and every biological process in your body. And when that system begins to break down, when it becomes inflamed, stiff, or thickened, that damage doesn't localize. It spreads, it reflects, and it repeats itself in multiple systems. Plaque is often first seen in the carotid arteries because that's the easiest place to view it. The blood vessels in your neck are the ones that supply your brain with blood flow. And when we find plaque there, it doesn't just mean it's in your neck or your neck is at risk. It means your brain is vulnerable. We've also seen plaque show up in the femoral arteries, the major blood vessels in your legs, and in retinal vasculature, the tiny little microvessels that supply your eyes. And guess what? Plaque in any of these places is rarely isolated. It is systemic. It's a signal of chronic underlying processes, such as endothelial dysfunction. Endothelium is the inner lining of the blood vessels breaking down. And then this inflammation mixed in there, both local and systemic. We also see a signal of chronic systemic immune dysregulation, where your immune cells become macrophages. You have cytokines and oxidative stress, creating these vicious feedback loops. And plaque is never just about cholesterol either. It's about vascular integrity across your entire body. So if you've ever been told that your heart is fine, but no one's looked at your carotids, your kidney perfusion, or your capillary circulation, you're really operating on a false sense of security. We're just getting started. So let's talk about what plaque really means across your whole system. So now that we've reframed plaque as a systemic signal, let's walk through the body, system by system, to see how this one marker points to broader dysfunction. Let's start with the brain. Plaque in the carotid arteries, which supply your brain with blood, doesn't just increase risk of stroke, it's also associated with microvascular injury and cognitive decline, and also vascular dementia. When blood flow to the brain becomes compromised, oxygen and nutrients are reduced. Over time, this can lead to decreased neuroplasticity, slower processing, memory lapses, and early onset brain fog. Now, let's move to the kidneys. Your kidneys are highly vascular. They filter over 50 gallons of blood per day. That's a lot. Any vascular dysfunction, especially plaque formation, can reduce their filtration capacity, leading to elevated creatinine, albumin leakage, or worse, silent kidney decline that isn't picked up by standard labs until it's stage 3 or 4 kidney disease. By then, you're looking at dialysis. Then there's your eyes. Retinal blood vessels are small, they're very sensitive, and often the first place where vascular inflammation shows up. If you have plaque anywhere, you're at risk for microvascular issues in the eyes. And think macular degeneration, reduced vision, sudden vision loss in extreme cases. Now let's talk about your legs. Plaque in your femoral arteries or other peripheral vessels is known as peripheral artery disease, or PAD. Symptoms include calf pain, fatigue, reduced mobility, but PAD is also a systemic marker. Those with PAD often have concurrent carotid and coronary artery disease. Now we finally move to the gut. Your digestive system and your liver rely on robust blood flow to detoxify, absorb nutrients, and keep your microbiome balanced. When perfusion drops, you may start to see constipation, poor detoxification, nutrient malabsorption, and elevated liver enzymes. Even skin and bone density are influenced by microcirculation and vascular hormone transport. Here's the key takeaway. When we see plaque, we don't just see a vascular event waiting to happen. We see a body sending out a distress signal, a beacon across multiple systems, often silently. So now that you know what plaque is saying, the next step is to understand how it gets there in the first place. So how does it form across the body? We touched on this in episode 5 briefly, but now we're going to walk through it from a systemic lens. Again, you remember endothelial dysfunction? We talked about that. That's the damage to the inner lining of your arteries. That lining is protected by a thin coating called the glycocalyx, a gel-like mesh that lines and protects the coating and serves as a vascular armor, if you will. When these are damaged, the glycocalyx starts to become degraded by inflammation, high glucose in the blood, oxidative stress. It exposes the tight junctions between the endothelial cells. Tiny little cracks form, and then LDL cholesterol gets trapped inside the arterial wall. Then that LDL oxidizes. The immune system then sends in these white blood cells called macrophages, which eat up and consume the oxidized LDL and turn into foam cells, bloated, immobile immune cells that start the formation of plaque. But here's where it becomes systemic. That same cycle, inflammation, oxidative stress, immune response, foam cell formation, happens in every artery of the body. So much of this is driven by your gut. A disrupted microbiome, leaky gut, or excess consumption of animal proteins can lead to elevated TMAO in certain genetic predisposed individuals, a gut-derived compound that increases vascular inflammation and plaque risk. Lipopolysaccharides, or LPS, another bacterial endotoxin, can leak into the bloodstream and trigger systemic immune activation, further compromising your vascular integrity. Insulin resistance, blood sugar spikes, and chronic cortisol elevation all amplify these effects, increasing plaque formation in not just the heart, but also the brain, the kidneys, and beyond. So this isn't a heart issue. It's a biological pattern, and it plays out body-wide. The good news, once we understand the pattern, we can disrupt it. But first, we need better ways to see it. So most cardiologists stop looking once they find plaque in the heart. But if plaque is systemic, our testing strategy must be as well. Seeing plaque in the carotid arteries means we should be checking the retinal blood vessels via ophthalmic imaging, looking for little signs of those blood vessels in the eyes rupturing. Kidney filtration, your GFR, your creatinine, your microalbumin levels. GI inflammation, such as calprotectin, zonulin, secretory IgA via a GI map stool test. Cognitive resilience, such as neuroinflammation markers and functional neurotesting. And of course, we must run the heart threat scan to track carotid intima media thickness, the ankle brachial index to measure lower body circulation, true age biological testing to reveal your aging trajectory. Now, all these data points tell us not only where plaque is forming, but why. This is the power of the functional medicine lens. We don't chase symptoms, we decode systems. We don't just look at where damage is, we ask what's driving it. And when you test this, you don't just save someone from a future heart attack, you help restore vitality across their entire biology. They literally grow younger. Let me share a story of Sarah. Sarah is a 63-year-old retired executive who came to our longevity center because her friend had been diagnosed with heart disease and she wanted to get it checked out for herself. She felt fine. Her labs looked decent, according to her doctor. Her cholesterol was a little elevated, but not alarming. And we ran a heart threat scan and found soft plaque in her left carotid artery. No other symptoms, no warning signs. Her cardiologist told her, "You're fine. This is normal for your age. You're just getting older." But she wanted more. We ran the full diagnostic stack. True age revealed she was aging biologically 11 years faster than her calendar age. Her GI map stool test showed gut dysbiosis, leaky gut, and low secretory IgA, which means suppressed immune system in her gut. Kidney markers showed reduced filtration. Neuromarkers hinted at microvascular compromise. This wasn't just a heart issue. This was a systemic red flag coming down the road at her at full speed. So we started her on a protocol to reduce inflammation, restore her gut integrity, rebalance the hormones, and activate cellular repair using peptides, ozone IV, stem cells, and strategic detoxification. At her 9-month follow-up, her kidney markers had normalized. Her neuromarkers were trending better. Vascular age dropped by 6 years. Her biological age reversed by 8 years. But more than anything, she told us, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I got my life back. I didn't realize how I had gradually been feeling lower and lower vitality. The previous version of me I thought was gone." She didn't just dodge a bullet. She rerouted her complete entire life trajectory. Here's what I want you to remember. Plaque is not a sentence. It's a signal. It's your body telling you that something is off, not just in one artery, but across the whole system. And that means you have an opportunity, not just to prevent a heart attack for yourself or a loved one, not to just avoid a stroke, but to restore function, to reverse decline, to rewire how your body ages so that your next decades are your best yet ever in your life. You're not just patching a leak, you're upgrading the whole system. It's so cool. And when you see plaque through that lens, you stop fearing it and you start using it. It becomes a roadmap, a rally cry, a reason to take radical ownership of your health for you and for your loved ones. Because you're not just adding years, you're building unbreakable vitality from the inside out. So if this episode spoke to you, if you're wondering what your arteries are really saying about your health, start with the vascular age quiz. Just start there. It's free, it's easy, it's quick. Go to echelon-longevity.com/quiz. It could give you the clearest insight you've ever had into your true biological trajectory. Because plaque may be the first sign, but it doesn't have to be your last. So on the next episode, we're unpacking the Echelon Advanced Cardiovascular Panel and what it tests, why your cardiologist isn't ordering it, and how it reveals the why behind your plaque. I'll see you there. If you're feeling like your energy, your edge, or your clarity just isn't what it used to be, you're not alone. But you're also not stuck. Every week on Unbreakable Vitality, we explore real strategies to reverse aging, reclaim vitality, and rewrite what's possible. If today's episode gave you even one insight, pass it on. Then go take the free vascular age quiz at echelon-longevity.com/quiz to see how your body's aging. Subscribe, leave a review, and follow us because your future isn't on autopilot. You are building it and you're just getting started.